Hi everyone, my name is Giuseppe Marino. I'm a member of our student recruitment team at Federation University, and I'm pleased to welcome you to our Associate Degree of Vocational Education and Training webinar, where we'll be providing information about the course and the opportunities available for our students. I'm also joined by Annette Foley and Pascal Somers from our academic staff, and also Kartik Makadia, who is a member of our recruitment team. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands and waters where our campuses, centres and field stations are located, and pay our respects to elders past and present, and extend our respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander and First Nations peoples. So, formal introduction to our amazing academics presenters who will be assisting us today. As I mentioned earlier, Professor Annette Foley, who's a Professor of Adult and Vocational Education and the course coordinator for this program. Hi Annette, great to have you here today.
Hi.
And also Pascal Somers, who is a Senior Lecturer in Vocational Education and Training. Nice to have you with us tonight, Pascal.
Hello everybody.
So we'll make a start, and for those joining us tonight or watching the recording, I thought it might be a good opportunity to start with a general overview of the course. So Annette or Pascal, I'll throw to you to provide some more information.
Thanks, Giuseppe. Look, what we're going to do is we're going to share this a little bit. I thought, though, we might start with our backgrounds, given that we're academics working in the associate degree of VET. Both Pascal and I have worked in the VET sector, myself years ago in the TAFE sector, and also in the community education sector before I came across to higher education. So we both understand what it's like to be in the classroom as a TAFE teacher and to be involved in the VET sector. So in that sense, we're immersed in it and we understand it as best as we possibly could, given that it's a moving feast. And those of you that work within the VET sector, you'll understand that. Did you just want to just very quickly, Pascal, give a background about yourself?
Well, thank you. And yes, I've been also in the VET sector for quite some time and teaching in the Certificate 4 and Diploma of Training and Education for quite some time. I was coordinator at RMIT for about 10 years. And I've also spent 5 years in industry relatively recently, in training package and workforce development with one of the Jobs and Skills Councils. So Annette and I bring a broad breadth of experience and knowledge to the course, but also it's joining with everybody else as teachers in the VET sector, joining with their expertise as well. So we see it as a joint venture.
Thanks for that. The associate degree is unique in that it is designed particularly for people that are working as teachers or trainers across the VET sector. So we understand that you're working mainly full-time, and we've developed this course in order for you to be able to do the course and at the same time work. So it's 2 years part-time. If you come in with the standard Cert 4, Certificate 3 in your industry qual and 4 years industry experience, but if you come in with the VET, Diploma of VET or VET Practice, you get 2 extra credits for that, and that takes you about 18 months to get through the course. It's fully online, and as I say, it really is designed for you to dip in and out. There are tutorials that we do fortnightly, and those tutorials are live. You can come in and listen to those, or they're recorded, so you can also listen to those at your convenience. So there's no compulsion for you to attend anything live. The course also includes placement, and Pascal's going to talk about the placement component.
Thanks, Ines. Yes, one of the components of the associate degree is you complete a practicum, which is essentially a placement. And you, with a Cert 4 entry, you complete 200 hours of practicum, of placement. And if you have a diploma, that is just the 100 hours of placement. So they're split into 2 units. And the first practicum is typically in the first year of your associate degree. And it's a really exciting and interesting unit because you get to actually investigate and probe areas of your teaching and assessment practice in that first unit whilst completing a log of a range of activities, both training and assessment, and other teacher-related activities to compile your first 100 hours of practicum. And that's to meet certain requirements for the Victorian TAFE agreement as well. But in terms of the unit and the practicums that you will complete, they're very exciting. They're directly related to your teaching and assessment practice, and you get to delve into it in a very specific way with lots of reflection. And we discuss practice quite a bit in the tutorial. So it's a very exciting aspect of your associate degree.
What I didn't mention there was that the associate degree is a Commonwealth supported place, and there is HECS help for those that are eligible.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Annette and Pascal. Really good to hear about the flexibility of the course. As you mentioned, having the CSP eligibility there, which is fantastic, and of course the practical placement, which is a really excellent component of this course. So thank you for that overview. We'll move now on to the student experience. And I'm wondering if we could talk a little bit about what students will actually experience and how they'll complete the degree, and a little bit more information about what they'll experience while they're doing it.
Okay, so Giuseppe, we have a number of entry points for students to engage in the material. So the first one, the most obvious one, is they engage through Moodle. So the Moodle is set up per unit, and you engage in the topics in a progressive way, entering in the Moodle unit and progressing through the topics in a very systematic way. Now that's guided by your study schedule. So literally on week 1, we provide you with your study schedule, which is a week-to-week account of what you should be going through on Moodle. So it kind of helps you to pace yourself and not do too much. But if you've got more time, you can work ahead. And if you've got some catching up to do, at least you know on the study schedule where you're at in the scheme of things. And then the other access point for your learning is the tutorial session. So every 2 weeks, so starting on week 1, we have a tutorial, a welcome, and a kind of an orientation tutorial, which gets you set up and there's a chance to ask questions. But we hold these every 2 weeks. They're also on your schedule. You will also see them in your student calendar, and simply click in and you join the session. So we have those tutorials, and the afternoon sessions are drop-in. They're purely a choice. They're kind of like a lunchtime drop-in sessions. I found them to be quite useful. Students will take some time out, even if it's just 5 minutes, and they want to ask a very quick question that's part of their learning or their assignment at the time, and they get a chance to actually just engage really quickly, and the lecture is available for that full hour for that drop-in session. And then on the same day, there's an evening session. Now that's the more formal one. It's recorded and it's available on Teams, so that if you can't make the session, you can have a look at the recording and catch up in that way as well. And that's where we cover some particular content that the lecturer will go through. Typically, there are areas that may need a little bit more explanation, a bit more development, where you can engage in that material in your own time. And students find that quite useful. when they are engaging in the course. We also have announcements. So all of these extra aspects like the announcements and discussion boards, if there is a post in the announcement, that goes through to your student email. So if you don't see it on the announcement area of Moodle, you'll certainly catch it in your email. And the announcements are a great way for us to kind of communicate with the group. And there's an opportunity there to respond to questions. But also in the discussion board, these are for your questions, which you can post at any time. And again, the alert goes through to the lecturer. And as I say, a question shared is a question halved. So we address those on the spot. So that's a really useful aspect of the course where questions are addressed and answered quite quickly in that aspect. So those are your main entry points of learning. So it's quite collaborative, but it does, there's an expectation that you will engage in the Moodle material yourself, get to grips with the readings, progress through the topics, and pace yourself with the study schedule. And we would roughly expect that you would allow yourself about 10 hours per week per unit. It will really depend on you, but that's kind of like a best figure to carve out some time. And we do recommend that if we know that with our busy work and life schedules, that can be quite challenging. But we do recommend to carve out some regular time to stay on top of your studies. That seems to be the best formula for success in the associate degree is chipping away at it gradually, staying connected, asking questions, staying on top of the materials, engaging in the reading, and the lecturers provide you with advice on which readings are more pertinent. So it's always good to stay connected, keep an eye on your emails throughout the unit.
Fantastic. That's a really great overview, Pascal. It sounds like a really good combination of flexibility, range of ways to get advice and support and connect with the other students and academics, and I think a manageable time commitment, but obviously you need to be disciplined while you're going through the course. But that's a great overview. Thanks very much, Pascal.
Okay.
So I'm going to move on to a question that we often get asked, which is what skills and knowledge will I gain throughout this associate degree? So I'll pass over back to Annette and Pascal.
I think in a nutshell, what you gain when you come to the associate degree is a deeper and more sophisticated understanding of the learning and teaching practice. We look at throughout a range of units. If you come in with this certificate 4, you do 8 units, and 6 if you come in with the diploma. And what we do is take you through an understanding of the principles and practices of competency-based education and assessment relevant across a range of settings. We provide you with an insight into the broad social, economic and political context of VET, which is really important because VET in many ways serves the economy of the country across the board, and understanding its place in Australia and its impact on the country is important. Its political and economic impact. That's a really, really interesting topic, and it's taught to you by someone with a very strong background in economics, but also a strong background in the VET context as well. We take you through, as I said before, that notion of a deeper understanding of learning, and we do that by discussing with you the foundations behind different learning theories, where they've come from, how they connect, to the learning concepts for adult learners. And we also talk through how those theories assist us to understand different types of learning styles and people from different learning backgrounds. We also talked to you about the knowledge and techniques to address literacy and numeracy needs of learners. And we know that the VET classroom can be a very broad and complex classroom with lots of different individuals with different learning backgrounds. And some of those have some challenges around literacy and numeracy. And we assist you with particular adult pedagogies and practices and ideas that help with tools and resources to teach those learners. We provide you with an ability to analyse and think critically and constructively about issues and developments in the VET sector, which is an important part of higher education, to think critically across all of those areas. And again, not only do we think about learning pedagogies and learning theories, but we connect those to teaching practices and skills for learning, which is an important part of developing you more further through a higher education context. We also provide an opportunity for you to liaise with industry and local and local and national levels, and that assists with developing those skills and knowledge, and also assist you with reflective practice and applied research. So at the end of the associate degree, you do an extensive and really contextual research project looking at a question around what you might want to have answered around your context in your VET teaching practice. And we also provide you with opportunities around gaining confidence to pursue higher level university studies you may wish to go on after this. And we do have people that do go on to a bachelor and even further sometimes.
Fantastic. It's a really comprehensive range of areas that are covered within the associate degree. And yeah, also, as you mentioned earlier, and really interesting to learn about the context of VET in the wider community and its importance, which is I think really a great aspect of the course. So thank you for that overview. That's excellent. We'll now move on to student success and career outcomes. So yeah, some information about what outcomes students have and what people have used with this qualification.
I think, is that you or me, Pascal?
I think that's me, but happy for you to jump in if I miss something.
Yep.
But I think what's important here in this slide is that this is a fantastic opportunity for you to engage in this associate degree. It's really for you as teachers and trainers within the VET sector, and to be able to operate effectively in registered training organizations and also in any adult education setting. The other key component is that it's going to raise your capabilities into this AQF level 6. So it's going to push the boundaries for you, and you're going to gain something which is at that associate degree level at AQF 6. So the thinking, the knowledge and skills, how you apply your knowledge and skills is going to be at that AQF level 6 aspect. So we're going to be pushing your academic capabilities a little bit further each time, but we build incrementally. So it's not thrust upon you and you have to kind of manage. It is a kind of a developmental process. So we encapsulate that as part of the associate degree. And of course, there's the obvious one about incremental salary points, and there's a benefit there because there is a lot of work and a lot of commitment in the associate degree. It does give you that standing as VET practitioners to be at that level. And of course, there's often there is a salary aspect to it. And as you can see there in the list, career opportunities. So you may be operating as a teacher, but there's also other components there. You could be a training consultant, or you can teach in other vocational settings as well. that will give you that capacity, because you will be enriched with this, with the topics that Annette went through in the associate degree. So your consciousness will be pushed into broader aspects of your practice, not just in the TAFE area or the registered training organization that you're within. You'll be pushing your awareness out into the community, into the vet sector more widely. And Annette and I and the team have experience in those areas. So we offer that knowledge to you as well, so that you can go and do your own searching for that. So in terms of outcomes, the big win is that it's going to give you a fantastic grounding. It's going to give you some great capabilities, not just in teaching, but your wider consciousness of the vet sector, how it works, how it plays with each other in terms of the interconnectivity of vets, and where your place is. We try to give you the opportunity to find where your place is in that vet story, so that you can contribute to it.
That's excellent. That's a great overview, Pascal. And I think there's some really just very obvious benefits in terms of professional development and, as you said, career opportunities in the sector. So yeah, that's an excellent overview. Thank you very much. So we'll talk about the next step, and perhaps I might actually throw this back to you as well, Annette and Pascal, just to go into a bit more detail about the entry requirements. But before we do that, just a reminder to those who are joining us online that if you do have any questions, please post in the chat. We'll have a brief Q&A in a moment. And in the chat as well, you're also welcome to indicate whether you're a current student who's already enrolled in the course, or if you haven't applied yet. We're very happy to contact those students who haven't applied and to guide them and assist them through the application process. So if you do need help, you can post it in the chat and we'll be able to follow up with you directly. Yeah, Annette and Pascal, I might just get you to give a bit of an overview of the entry requirements for the course and those various pathways, as we mentioned, with credit.
Yeah, so the entry requirement is a certificate 4 in training and assessment. It's also a requirement for you to have 4 years industry experience in your cognate area, and an industry qualification at certificate 3 or above level. And though that package of prerequisites constitutes a diploma level. What's interesting is that always associate degrees are normally 16 units or 2 years full time. What we've been able to do with the associate degree is to take account of your teaching experiences, your certificate 4, your industry experience, and your cert 3 in your industry area, and provide you with a generous amount of credit, so that you come into the associate degree not having to do 16 units, but having to do only 8 units, which shortens your degree to only 1 year full-time or 2 years part-time. If you come in with a diploma, a VET or a diploma of vet practice, that provides you with an extra 2 credits or units of credit, and you only need to do 6 units or 18 months part-time, which is a really generous opportunity. And it's a wonderful way to actually make it achievable for you, but to recognise your expertise, the fact that you're teaching in practice already, and the fact that you've come from industry. The university, that's about it in terms of credit. Some people ask if they've done other things, including other degrees, whether they can get any more credit. But as far as the university is concerned, that's our maximum credit, but it is a very generous credit and a great opportunity for you to come in an achievable way.
Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah, as I said, very fair and generous amount of credit available there. And yeah, all those details are also available on our website if you'd like more information about the entry requirements. As it does note there, the application for this course for the associate degree is direct to Federation University. So you can access that via our website, and there's a direct link there. But as I mentioned, if you do need assistance with us, you can contact us directly for more information. And I think we do have, yes, there's a post there from Celeste that we'll take note of. Thanks for that, Celeste, for letting us know. So we'll also just move on to the Q&A. So as I mentioned, if anybody does have any questions, who's joining us live tonight, you're welcome to pop those in the chat. But just while we're waiting for any of the questions to pop through, I just might pose a couple of questions to both Annette and Pascal in relation to the associate degree. In terms of past students, what do students generally tell you about why they've chosen to do this course?
I think that people often want to do the course because it's directly associated with a pay increase. There's no getting away from that. They also want to come into the degree because it's recognised as an important standing. In fact, our associate degree is the biggest higher ed VET teaching degree in the country. And so it's very well known, and it has some stance, if you like. Other people want to come in because they want to learn beyond the Certificate 4 or the diploma in terms of those sorts of things that I talked about before. Understanding more deeply the notion of learning theory, how it relates to practice, how we can negotiate different learning tools and styles for different learners, because as I mentioned before, the TAFE sector and the RTO sector, the VET sector, including the adult education sector, has with it a broad and diverse student base. So it requires a sophisticated and nuanced understanding of how to teach across that broad base. To extend the question just a tad more, what do people say to us once they've done the degree or once they've done it for a year or so? We do have people tell us not only did they enjoy it, but they felt that they really could begin to connect what they're actually doing on the ground and how that relates to particular learning theories and how they can use those now in that context. And not only is it the context is broad in terms of diversity of student, it's broad in terms of diversity of what is being taught. And those sorts of theories, pedagogies, practices, resources, if you like, can be used in the classroom for them. And that empowers them, and they've told us that, which is, really great for us to hear that.
Yeah, that's some really positive feedback and some really great insights there, Annette. Thank you. You sort of touched on this already, but are there any particular student success stories or examples of where students have gone on to that you'd like to highlight?
Yes, well, I've been thinking about that, Giuseppe, and having attended a couple of the graduations this year, I think for me that was the great success story, which was to meet with students who had gone through, I'd marked their assignments, they'd worked really hard, they'd come through some challenges in relation to finishing their associate degree, and then that final, I suppose, triumph of walking up on stage and receiving their associate degree. And that was a great pleasure to see that, and to see the joy and the excitement and the sense of achievement. Plus, one student saying that he was delighted to see me in 3D. Having been online for quite some time, he said, "Oh, it's Pascal in 3D." I say, yeah, in the place. And so that's a really exciting. So that's the key success story, I think, is people who have, who I've seen work really hard, respond to feedback in their assignments, really interrogate their own practice and work really hard at understanding it and extending it. That to see that achievement is probably the best success stories story that I've seen. I think the other success stories is, as Annette was saying, which is about they just get this broader perspective of their teaching, and I think that's a common denominator in the students that undertake this course. They're teachers, and teachers are. It's a job that we're continually trying to get better at. It's one of those. It's one of those skills that you're perpetually trying to develop, and we try and stay on, the cutting edge of developments, and teachers come with some great ideas. So it's about promoting that. I think that's a great success story, and I think it's the achievement of that academic endeavor. It's about that they have an associate degree. It's a higher ed qualification. For some, that would have seemed out of reach and not possible to do, and certainly from teaching first year students, it is a little bit it takes a little bit of getting used to. There's a little bit of a jolt in that movement and thinking, but as we've discussed, there are supports and aspects available to students to achieve their full potential. So that's what we're about, is about achieving, and those are great success stories. It's to see even the brochure that we get for the graduation list. So if they haven't managed to attend the graduation, I take a pleasure, and I think the team do as well, of scanning down through the list and seeing the students and the effort and the challenges they've had, and they've been able to come through. So that's been a really good aspect of the course. And I think finally then, Annette mentioned this as well, is that they get this opportunity, a unique opportunity in the course, to actually research something that they really would like to get to the bottom of. Something as part of their practice. They get a red hot go at researching and developing a thinking around some aspect of their teaching that they'd like to get to the bottom of, and they get this chance to research it. And so it's quite detailed. There's a lot of rigor in it, but I see that students get and we remind them continually throughout the course. You wrote really well in this aspect. That might be something you might like to research a bit further when you get to that unit in second year. So that's a great success story as well, to actually take on a research piece and achieve it.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Pascal. Yeah, I know I've been to a number of graduation ceremonies over the years. Not just the reward and the joy that the students have, but of course the academic staff have as well. It's a real celebration of all the work and the culmination of years of effort and work that goes into it. So yeah, it's lovely to hear those stories about students' success on the day. So thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful. I don't think we have any questions in the chat, so we will bring the webinar to a conclusion. We're sort of at the half-hour mark. One thing we did mention as well is that even though primarily this course is online, of course, as a Federation student, you can access any of those on-campus facilities at any time you wish, and that includes all the support services, library, other resources, on-campus events. You can access them at any time when it's convenient for you. So I guess that's another advantage of the course. You get the great flexibility of the online delivery. You still have the contact time with tutorials and other drop-ins, as was mentioned earlier. And of course, you can still come onto campus and use those facilities as you need them. So just to wrap up, a little bit of information about how you can get in touch with us and get further assistance as needed. Of course, all the information we've delivered today available about the course itself is available on our website. You can call us directly through 1-800-FED-UNI, 1-800-333-864. You can email us directly if you need any assistance. That's futurestudents@federation.edu.au. And if you haven't been to a Federation campus before, there's probably no better way to experience campus life and experience what we're all about than to attend an open day. And they're all coming up in August. You can learn more about the open days on the Open Day website, which is available there on your screen via that link. I'd like to thank our academic staff for presenting today, Professor Annette Foley and Pascal Somers. Thank you so much to both of you.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your time. And as mentioned, we'll be sharing this recording with everybody who's registered as an on-demand video. So we'll have that available online shortly. Thanks, everybody. I hope you all have a great evening.